you have all joined us already. I think we have now around 55 participants. Also, good afternoon, Kun Santi. It's very pleasure for me to join you as a moderator for this session, our plant-based group. And I think we have quite a diverse background of participants as well. And also I see some names that seems to be joining us from abroad as well. So it is our great pleasure to hear and to learn more from everyone.
Thank you for Dr. Sirikan for the brief introduction and sharing the today's breakout room topic of discussions. We will use the Google Share slide that we will input all the thoughts and share it live online on the screen later on. So I think the very first we will break into three split topic of discussion to gather the ideas, key initiatives, and all your participants. If you have any thoughts or idea that would like us to summarize in the policy dialogues. The first discussion, I would like to use this as a go as much as possible. So go for volumes for the how might we questions that we can co-create a sustainable alternative protein for Asia Pacific country. So you can answer from the perspective of when you look in terms of the plant-based protein value chain. So you look from the upstream, downstream, any of the questions, any thoughts that come to mind that if the policy in place, if the regulatory in place, if the how might we work together to pursue research and development, pursue the consumer engagement and the people who engage in the commercialized and consumer platform to really like transform the value chain of the plant-based protein. So any thoughts, any idea, you can leave us at the comment, or you can use the raise hand to raise the hand and share with us for the people in the room. I would like to also remark that every idea and every comments will be captured and we record. And also, if anyone raise hand and share the ideas, please use 1 to 3 minutes speech per answer so that we can get as much as idea as possible ครับ anyone who have any thoughts and idea in terms of look through the value chain of plant-based protein you can share, or if anyone who involves in terms of like do accelerating startups, support ecosystem, or engage in terms of building the policy, the regulatory framework. You can look through all the enabler pillars that how we can support in terms of like investment, grant funding, regulatory, research and development infrastructures, and all such things that really promote and support the development of the ecosystem. So look from two perspectives that you can share any ideas or thoughts from the value chain standpoint and from the ecosystem standpoint ครับ Okay, we join. We join.
Hello, everyone. I'm back. Sorry for the slight technical problem. I'm not sure have Kun Santi already introduced everyone about the topic that we're going to discuss today. Sorry, I cannot hear you. Is it the problem at my side again, or will happen?
Oh, I think I forgot to open the microphone.
Okay.
So I have briefly introduced of how we work as a three split out section in different questions, like from how might we to what works, what not, and what most important. So the first question we use this as a very like go for volume as much as idea as possible for 20 to 25 minutes. So the floor is open to you, Dr. Srikan, and anyone would like to also share. I think like Kun Vipu or any like familiar face today, if you like to share, please do so. Don't be shy. Let's go for volume. For me, I can go first. I have many pain points and many questions, but
You can
actually
share
I don't want to like direct people to the room and to the idea, but like from the plant-based protein, right? If we are gonna stick to the soy and pea protein, um, I think look from the value chain perspective. There are many pain points and problem, like how can we also be more self-resilient in terms of have this kind of source of protein in our region or in more of our emerging partner countries, or even like in the midstream. I have encountered a lot of problem from overseas and local that there are not much innovations in terms of formulating or bringing new texture that really support the consumer. From the both upstream and midstream, there are raising awareness and raising questions in terms of if we like to make this plant-based protein more sustainable, uh, how can we incorporate those like efficient model of the automation, integration, production, and also with the green energy, green source of energy and infrastructure to make this value chain more sustainable. And in terms of like consumer perspective, like I think Mr. Vipu has, bring to us to the table that is still very niche in Thailand, and it still needs a lot of like definition, regulate the standards, and how to bring forward the consumer persuasion. Like I see the case in UK that they are trying to, or UK and in Netherlands also, they are trying to have more food literacy to the new generation at the primary school, and they use as a lunch meal, and also put this in terms of the lesson of eat more diverse source of protein, and start to incorporate plant-based diet into the everyday daily life. So many of the idea that we can learn and share from each other from many countries that you of your representative countries or market. I'm not sure we have our friend from like Singapore or India joining us today. If you also have any thought, please feel free to share with us. Now the floor is all for you.
Yes, thank you, Kunsanti, very much. You have thrown us with loads of ideas to start with. And I would like to again encourage our participants. You can raise your hand, you can type in the chat box, or you can like turn on your microphone and speak to us. It's good to hear more from the participants. And Kunsanti has mentioned that we have wanted to look from the whole perspective of the whole spectrum of the value chain from upstream to midstream and then to downstream. And probably you can share with us like whether which part of the value chain that you are at and then which problems or issues you want to raise. And then our facilitator will help to tie them in the slide, as you can see, some coming up now, like infrastructure, and we also have something like innovative formulation that we probably all together need to still keep developing and innovating, although the plant-based protein has been one of the areas that's more mature in terms of both like research and development and commercially compared to other types of proteins. But I think we can't stop here, right, Konstantin? We still have to keep moving on and pushing on. Maybe Kun Vipu can share with us again. Maybe you can share your perspective again about the issues that you have been experiencing. And you also mentioned that you are one of the first companies to actually start working and developing commercial products on plant-based proteins. Maybe you can share some of the perspectives about the regulations or some other things that you think we should together help develop to overcome the issues. Kun Vipu, are you still here with us? I think I saw your name somewhere. Yes, Kun Vipu,ค่ะ.
Hi again, everyone. Well, about the regulations in Thailand, I think I'm not sure if this room they have some of the people from the Thai FDA attend. So I would like to ask if somebody can just revise the regulations or maybe updates about the regulations about the food all over the world, because it's not only the plant-based that we found the problem. I used to be the traders before, so when we import some of the new ingredients from other country, there are some of the difficulty to register from the import products until from the selling perspective, because when we don't have the FDA, we cannot sell in the supermarket. We can sell as maybe just we can name as home use products or some of the kind of like a home cooking, but we cannot launch it like officially launch. So that would be our pain point about the regulations, and also some of the in-depth like the shelf life, some of the other things, some of the analysis of the microbiological or something like that are also be threat for us to doing the plant-based in here in Thailand.
Thank you very much for sharing your perspective, Kun Vipu. So yeah, I think those are one of the areas that can be kind of a barrier also for the newcomers and for the small and medium enterprise to actually enter into this plant-based market as well, right, Kun Santi?
ครับ So
And
just out of my curiosity, like when Kun Vipu you are mentioned about like learning us about like microbes on that point, any like specific example or initiative you like to share, if any ครับ
Oh, well, that would be the maybe too deep question for me. I have to let my R&D team answer for you. I'm so sorry about that. But I've heard from R&D team about the issue that we cannot register, we cannot doing those, doing that or something because of the regulations.
อืม I think it's very very like precise the ideas that and the very ideal that how can we like harmonize the the regulation and also like refreshing updating the sustainable source of food, not only like plant-based protein. I have like you know like past couple months I have been interviewing like key stakeholders in the ecosystem, and I think the international relation in terms of regulatory harmonization is still a big and a huge gap that we can really work together. I understand, I'm not that innocent that I understand that there are like barrier in terms of trade and other things, but if really like in one specific in terms of like FDA to FDA, we can really like work together as maybe paving the way for us to really like have a clear guideline, right? That maybe Kun Vipu, you first starting from like a certain country and we can do harmonization from that country like Singapore, Japan, or other country in the area in the region. ครับ
I have something to share. When you mention about the harmonizations, I just think about the custom, not only the FDA, but also the custom of Thailand. When we export or when we import, they don't really know what is it. The harmonization code or something like that. That would be one of another. Is kind of, I think that's similar to the FDA number. When we have the new of the thing or new inventions or maybe new innovations, the departments, they don't know what is this, and they sometimes they just denied about the new things. They don't really let us explain or something like that. That would be another pain from us.
อืม Yeah, I think it's again the one of the main issues. Because when we talk about like clear guidelines and how we can monitor and how we can support this new category, and it's direct into the number of the sales and sale volume and sale value that is bring back to the SS course, which is still right in the in the in the very discussion that Kun Vipu mentioned, that maybe the number of SS code and how we can give definition and collect the data and use this information locally and internationally is still a lot of challenge and room for us to improve together. โอเคครับ anyone if I would like to also invite, I'm not sure if Dr. Dr. อาจารย์เอกอนง if you like to share with us if any thoughts and any idea, because Food Innopolis have also been the path of success to this many of like Meat Avatar and plant-based startup in Thailand. So if you have anything you like to also give us the idea and thoughts, please ครับ
Yes. So can you hear me?
ครับผม
Okay. So I think I have 2 points to give in this discussion, as we been working with startup teams that's working on a plant-based product. I think I see 2 things that we could do better to help them develop their products to the market faster and to develop their business as well. First thing is, I think we need to put more from both public and private sector in terms of scale-up facilities for these kinds of products. Because when we develop this product out from the lab, we need to check whether it can be produced in a mass scale or it can be scaled up. So the scaling up facility is very important. And I'm now running accelerators for food tech accelerators, and several teams in our accelerators right now is finding their difficulties in finding the OEM facilities that can scale up to the amount that they can try the market or even make the minimum launch product to launch in the market just for testing. So that's one thing. And another thing is whether that facility is get to meet the FDA standard. That's another point. So that is one about production facilities. Second is I think we need to understand more in terms of what we put in the plant-based product to kind of mimic it to be like the meat. So those science technologies, innovation that we need to accommodate it in the product is the flavors, the ingredients, and all those kind of stuff that we mix it together, and also the processings and also the ingredients as well. So I think this is the 2 points that I would like to share. So to answer how might we, first thing is how might we better have more scaled up facilities for this kind of new product, and how might we understand and know how to use all those flavors and ingredients into this kind of products. Yeah, so that's my 2 points.
ขอบคุณมากๆครับ thank you very much ครับ I think it's very straight to the heart and to the point that how might we really like learn about our like input source of protein and other like other input that we will use to formulate and incorporate in the plant-based protein in each different countries, and I think we all can learn from different country and different perspective, and even in Thailand, like how might we learn more about what we can like put and incorporate.
And another point that I want to leave on this round, because I'm having another meeting, so I might be a silent participant on this discussion. But one more thing that I would like to add is that from my observation in the ThaiFex, the recent one, there's a lot of plant-based product available in the market. And right now there's a big company that they are in this business in making this kinds of product. So how could we help the small company or even startup company entrepreneur in this area to grow their business, and how we make the large company and small company work together? That's also the challenge for maybe both small, medium company and large company, and also the government agencies, Food Innopolis as well as a supporting agency. So this is kind of how we make this value chain of plant-based products or plant-based protein healthy in terms of small, medium startup working with the large company.
Oh, thank you very much ครับ so this straight to the ecosystem that I think all the small SME or like startups need ครับ of how to really like collaborate with the brother and the umbrella that established in terms of like maybe production facility or represent market or exporting market that work together and like incorporates, because I think they are developing in terms of like incorporates like other like plant-based product in the hybrid like plant-based, cell-based or other like regular plant-based into like seafood plant-based product, learning from each other. So I think it's very thank you and very great point that you share here, and we hope to really make this thing happen. Um,
I'm
Thank you very
still
much.
in the room, but maybe a little bit silent because I have another meeting, but I'm listening. Thank you.
ขอบคุณครับ Thank you very much. Um, anyone who like to also like share more initiative and idea from the point that คุณวิภู and Dr. เอกอนงค์ just mentioned คุณวิภูเชิญครับ
Yes, I would like to add some point to Dr. Ekanom that she mentioned about the scale up facility, but I think scale up facility that would be great if we can have some kind of that facility. But before the scale up facility, I think we need a laboratory to doing the research on this plant-based or maybe some of other research project on this one first. I have talked to some of the people, some of the startup and some of the entrepreneur. They don't have the laboratory or the facility that affordable price in the affordable price. I would say that because when they use the lab, maybe they ask the lab from NFI or the lab from some of the university. It still cost too much for them as the startup. They don't have that much money to start the project, and they have to maybe rent or maybe they have to pay 5,000 or 10,000 baht a day to do the lab test or to do researching on their projects. So that I think that would be another pain for the people that they want to start about the plant-based. We have many of the researcher. Maybe they just get off from the university. Maybe they just graduate from the university, so they don't have any labs to do their projects anymore. They have to pay for it, and maybe they cannot afford it, right? Even maybe they have some grant fund to do the research. The money is not coming yet, but they already registered the project and they already I mean when the owner of the fund, they grant the fund, sometimes they have a problem to advance the funds for the researcher. I think that one I want to mention about in the ecosystem.
Thank you very much ครับคุณวิภูครับ I have record this on the screen. I think it's in line with we have like idea from Dr. Ekanong andคุณวิภู because first we think we have a university infrastructure and all, but somehow it's not really like comply to the international regulatory or not readiness for scaling up or for export as a really like finished product production. And in terms of laboratory standpoint as well, I think it's still I think like NSGDA, Foodnopolis be a very like one-stop service to support the startup and SME, but still a lot of rooms and challenge of how they can access to the laboratory that support their project. So I think it's very crucial and thank you for raising this up ครับ any idea any people from Nextpo, any people from private sectors would like to also share with us?
Yes, and maybe we can also think about how we can also collaborate in not just like locally but regional as well. So if we can hear more from, I think Do we have any? Yeah, I see some names like that seems not to be a Thai name. So maybe you can also share like in terms of regional collaboration, what do we need to create a more collaboration between countries to countries, or maybe you can share like different perspective from your countries as well, because I think we hear already quite a bit about what's happening in Thailand and the idea that can make it work here in Thailand.
Totally agree ครับ like most definitely want to learn from the international point of view, international ecosystem. Like I think like in Thailand we have learned a lot from like Singapore or many countries that our neighbors country that really have accelerating the level of the food security and the development of all enabler to support the healthy and sustainable ecosystem. So anyone from international market or international ecosystem and local can also share, please. Dr. Sirikan ครับ we see a lot of idea from the other rooms, right? New source of protein and
Yeah.
fermentation. Yeah, that's encourage customer to try more variety of format and menu.
Yeah, I think like consumer, like raising awareness for consumers is one of the issues for the new source of protein, right? But in terms of plant-based, like sometimes I'm not sure, apart from what Kun Vitu already mentioned, that probably the name of food labeling can also be an issue. And maybe it has to be more clear and like sincere to the consumer as well, that this is plant-based and what is the nutrition, what is the benefits that they will get. And we can also kind of educate the consumer at the same time, right? Because sometimes consumer might expect or have some expectation about plant-based, or have some kind of hesitation, not wanting to try plant-based. So it's also kind of our responsibilities as well in terms of educate the consumer, as well as try to drive the market to gain more consumer to try like plant-based proteins. I'm not sure or we can have like anyone who have some experience in kind of have international market experience or their products too. Do you have like anything to share with us, kind of the challenges that you have found in kind of going into different market than just targeting in Thailand? Maybe that's another perspective that we can share. Because in terms of plant-based, Kun Santi, do you think that the main market apart from Thailand, is it kind of regional as well, or is more like Europe or America or those kind of countries? Which are the main market for the plant-based at the moment?
Wow, I think the very developing market is the North America and Europe, and but we see trends from like but I mean the needs of the protein, I think more than 60% convention and new source of protein is belong to Asia. So apart from like US, Europe, is the China is very growing market, and I think apart from China is Indonesia and other neighboring country. Like I have from international perspective, perhaps I can share this when I talk in with like our friend as GFI in Singapore that
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I try to ask them very like straight out questions that they perhaps in terms of alternative protein, they perhaps see us position of Thailand as a country that rich in the biodiverse
Mhm.
and strong in the food production facility. So we have seen as a country to be scaling up a country for new innovation from Singapore or from other country that want to move to this region like US and Europe and Israel. But um, if we really dig down, I think there are many new areas like I think refer to like Dr. Ekanom mentioned that we can really like find a new corpus and new input for this to incorporate into plant-based protein to be more sustainable and more healthy. And also, I think from us as an agricultural rich country and long experience in agricultural countries, they would love and hope for us to have research for the crop optimization and how to really like make this new source of not like new source of protein, but the incorporate crops and input for the plant-based protein for for more sustainable future. All right, so I think we're gonna like stick to this question for maybe another like 5 to 10 minutes, and
Mhm.
perhaps like I think like maybe you're still thinking about like some answer to put this into word or sentence, but just to share with you. It's very like easy conversation. You can share any thoughts or
Yeah.
any experience
And
or any problem that you have encountered in this like plant-based protein space. Come.
yeah, and also if you have you can also share like in the chat box. You can type either in Thai or English. Our facilitator will help translate them and put them into the slide. So it doesn't need to be like a rocket science or something, right? It just can just be a simple ideas or experience that you can share. And Kusanti has rightly pointed out that we have to look at the whole spectrum, and even for Thailand as an agriculture country, we can also kind of have some innovation about the crop optimization as well to gain probably like protein rich and I think protein sources for the plant-based proteins is one of the area that we are still lacking because most of the resources that we have here in Thailand, we have to import them, right? So that is one of the area that we could look into as well. And wouldn't it be great if we can have some kind of collaboration between like in this region and kind of develop like country specific kind of plant-based proteins, and then we can share this type of resources and supply within the region. Is there anything in the chat box? If you don't want to turn on the microphone, you can just like give us drop any message in the chat box. We will put them in the Google Slides.
And I think yeah, many like thoughts and idea that come to my mind. One of the idea that I have received from one of my like dearest professor is the Dr. Siviligun Laokaikun, Sustainable Brand Thailand. I think she have raised the point that If we think like alternative protein is kind of like future food and more sustainable food, so how might we make this more like kind of like monitor and share the data that is more like sustainable, is more optimized, that we consume, we produce, we distribute this kind of alternative protein. So if there are ways, or if there are, how we can collect the data and how we can communicate this, perhaps communicate the true value of it as a new source of sustainable food.
And also, I have another thought about this, like sharing of data. Do you think that like open source kind of database will be beneficial for developing the plant-based protein into like a sustainable food system? I think it's kind of a sensitive issue as well, but sometimes if you want to like get everything going, you have to share some of the preliminary results or some of the basic knowledge that can engage the stakeholders to actually move along together. And I'm not sure about the situation in other countries, but I think we have seen some of the discussion about like open source and open data. For example, like could we share the blueprints for the facility or some of the formulation that can be like a first step for the newcomers as well, and they can develop like their own or more specific in this kind of sharing of the data. Then we can kind of engage more people to join with us in developing plant-based proteins.
Yes, I totally agree. Very, very, very important and very crucial that we have like kind of open source data and food and blueprint for this. Already put this in the slide here.
Mhm.
Oh, we see some hands ครับ Dr. ศิริการครับ
Okay.
Please, Juan, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Well, I would like to share that if it's possible, because we have one research here in Thailand that I can say we did with El Salvador. It's about mitigate the pollutants from the coffee industry, because we're talking about sustainability and protein, right? So the thing is, we're using the biomass as a substrate to produce oyster mushroom. And oyster mushroom is a good resource of protein. So the interesting things is we help the farmers. Basically, El Salvador is one of the known as a producer of coffee, and there are many waste from the coffee industry. So we using the pulp, we using the ground seed as a substrate for the oyster. So we help to farmers to get another source of income. And this research in the ending show that for each dollar that you invest to produce in this, you can get in return 0.52. So it's very good. It's proof that from the West we can have another income. Moreover, help to mitigate the contamination from the coffee industry. It's another way to compensation, and also it's economic retribution for the farmers. Actually, the research, I have it, or even you can, I can share the link. We did with Faculty of Environment and the University of Agriculture in El Salvador. So it's very interesting. There are 2 publications already in the name of both the university.
Wow, very interesting. Please, please do share with us the link, and also one greatly appreciate and hope to connect with you for further discussion, and I think it's very good case study for us to learn from.
It will be my pleasure. I like the agri industry. I like environment, and I've been here for more than 6 years. So it's beautiful experience. Actually, I have the experience working with the in industry and exporter sector in my country. We can talk later, but yeah, I can tell you that there are some research that for sure I will share. I will give you right now the link, and it will be my pleasure. Thank you very much.
Yes, and Juan, if you don't mind, I mean, from sharing, from seeing like Thailand and from your region uh, ecosystem, how can we also learn from you from the I don't know like from the production regulatory and other like supporting activity in your countries, ครับ
Well, the good thing about both of countries, it's tropical. So we almost have the same kind of crops. Plus that Thailand as well, because I know Thailand since 2011. I have a beautiful experience in Khon Kaen University, Kasasat, Chiang Mai, in Macho, and now that I am being here in Mahidol for 6 years. But my point is, I know some agricultures here in Thailand that they export to Europe, and Europe basically they request organic products. So I know that governments promoting this kind of the crops, self-sufficiency economic, which is the philosophy of the King Ramanaya, right? So we are kind of similar because our main target is United States. So we're working with the FDA regulations. So I have the regulation as well because I get some training in the Ministry of Agriculture from United States in order to support the exporter sector in my country, how they can improve the good agriculture practice, the good manufacturing practice, the HACCP traceability, etc. Right? So all these kind of the things, it's very familiar with Thailand. Plus, as well, we export into Europe, so it's very common. In fact, let me check the. I will give you the link in this moment. Please give me a second.
Thank you ครับ
Okay. Okay, this one.
And Huan, I think thank you very much for sharing your perspective. I think one of the points that you, as you mentioned, that there is kind of a linkage between. I think we can also learn from you that if we can link like different industry or related industry together, and then we can see that we can not only have some kind of new sources of plant-based protein, but we can also help another industry or help other stakeholders like the farmers, as you mentioned, that we can see the sharing of the value and the benefits along this collaboration as well. And yeah, please share us the link so we can learn more from you as well.
With a pleasure.
ครับ Dr. ศิริการครับ I see some of the comments, the ideas, three ideas from the comment box, and I like to also share with the people in the room that I think to give more knowledge to the farmers, I think this is in line with the Committee Board of the Food Security of Thailand, that we hope to really like utilize the opportunity that we have a new generation and people going back from Bangkok to their hometown to grow crops, and if they can learn that they can take part in terms of this sustainable plant-based protein journey it would be great for us to have more of the talent and the people from upstream to support this value chain. So thank you very much for the idea. And other idea is in line that Thailand has small amount of certified food quality analysis lab. So we have that, and okay, so they can grow choice of plants. So who want share with all of you the research between Mahidol? Okay, thank you very much. Who want, or if anyone also would like to also add or share anything before we quickly move to the next question, just feel free to share your thoughts. Okay, perhaps this idea is come from one of our friend. I have been discussing all along, like Kun Smith, the CEO of the Less Plant Meat, Niti Food from Chiang Mai, northern part of Thailand. He also raised this a couple of times that we have like open discussion publicly that I mean why we support the source of convention protein, like how we raise pig, cows as a source of conventional protein, but how can we also support, put same mindset to support the level of price, channel, accessibility of the plant-based products in the market. So I think that's one of the idea that I would like to also put in this note from Kun Smith. And if anyone also have any idea or similar thoughts, please also do share. Okay, we have more idea from again. Thank you to Dr. Ekanong from Foodnopolis. Okay, how might we have this research, plant-based protein research and innovation consortium to connect the people all through the value chains to work together. And this may be pros to the TSRI and PMUC. Yeah, and use this consortium to connect with the international partners. Yeah, it's one of the dream, one of the dream and vision that we hope to see. I hope to see some of the like continuity and really like committed body to connect and to move this, like continuously. So perhaps like consortium.
Yeah, and also I think probably a bit more technical is about the standardization of the verification and tasting as well. Because now as there are many bodies with different backgrounds working on this and they haven't been enough of the kind of the sharing or discussion together into developing kind of a standardization in the tasting of the plant-based, especially in terms of meat analogs, because it depends also like which part of meat that you are doing and how to actually have standardized this method. If we can have something like this standardization, it can be a platform as well to collaborate. And we can have kind of the same language together in terms of discussion and R&D activities. And Kun Santi, just to let you know that Dr. Yuki has already joined us and then probably I mean not in this session, but I mean join the webinar. So probably after all the groups has joined at the main room, then we can have him to share his inspiring case before you give a closing remarks.
Okay,ครับ.
And Juan, do you want to share anything or is that just from the last time? I saw you raise your hand.
No, it's from the last time.
Oh, okay. And also, Kun Santi, I have a problem. I don't see anything in the chat. So if anything come up in the chat, then please also share with us because I think some technical issues, so I don't see any message in the chat as well. And Kun Santi, do you think we continue with this one or shall we move on to the next topic?
Yes, I think if no like any further like comments or ideas, we can move to the next slide, next questions. Anyone would like to add anything, just let us know in the chat box,ครับ. So again, these are the pool, the collection of the idea, pain points, initiatives, and how we can learn from each others. And then we trying to really like summarize it, and then we trying to translate it and verify the information and trying to put this as a dialogue for making the policy for this APEC Summit 2022.
คุณสันติครับ
ครับ
ผมสมิธครับ
สวัสดีครับ Thank you ครับ
ครับ
สวัสดีครับ คุณสมิธ I just mentioned about your thoughts in the room. Please, any ideas, any thought, please ครับ
Sure. I think to give a more clearer picture on the point that Kun Santi reiterate. I think plant-based meat is the alternative to the conventional animal meat products. And I think the policy in the country, not only like the producer want to create it better good tasting and then the good quality and then lower the cost, but the cost structure also determined by how governments construct the industry. For example, in Thailand, I think in many other countries too, the agriculture products, say like pork, chicken, or poultry, the fresh meat doesn't have what I call VAT, value added tax. So this is also 7% advantage on the cost of plant-based meat that have to incur the value-added tax. And secondly, this one is the multiplier on the burden or the cost we pay at the supermarket, which is the retail channel profits, gross profits. Because you're selling to something in supermarket, you have to give, say, like 25, 35, 40% to supermarkets. But for animal meat, the law from the Department of Internal Trade, กรมการค้าภายใน say the pork price should not be more than this published price, just to make sure that the inflation of the country is not high. But that also creates what we call artificially low cost, because all the retailer virtually take nothing to sell the animal meat. But plant-based meat also have to pay the 25 to 30% of 35% the gross profit, and then when multiply through the VAT, then the price become something that consumer don't accept, and they will say, I eat the pork all day long because it's cheaper. And this is something where if we really study on how the cost from factory become the cost that consumer pay, if to promote the more consumption, these are the things that we can fix it to promote more local consumption and to be maybe like a better health and better society too. Thank you. So let me give another example parallel to if you at a restaurant selling food, right? For takeaway, if customer want some takeaway, so you restaurant can choose to use the styrofoam, which is very cheap, or you use like some biodegradable packaging like tray, which is like 5 times more expensive. These are the things where either not consumer call for it, or the retailer say like this food court will allow only the biodegradable. Then no one set the rule, then everybody will use a styrofoam. And then Thailand as a country, we say that they can fade out like the styrofoam as the food packaging. So these are the things that promoting more like sustainable packaging, like biodegradable. And this something similar area should be implemented in the plant-based protein. Thank you.
Wow. Very straightforward and very like, we can use this like as a policy dialogue. Thank you very much ครับคุณ Smith, you have perhaps like one of the pioneer and most experienced in the ecosystem. Anything you like to also quickly share with us that you see from international ecosystem that you are engaging with? Anything we can learn from, and we can put this on this map before we move to the next question ครับ
Okay, so this today my daddy day, so I'm taking care of the small kid, and then so this is I have some time. I think one thing is people driving toward more cost parity with the animal meat. This is something where we going to work with like maybe the what I call economy of scale, the production scale, and also maybe partnerships like OEM when somebody mentioned. Secondly, the what I call the technology that to unlock plant-based meat to be better. You're talking about like high moisture extrusions, or talking about like the 3D printing of the meat to create more complex structure, like the fat inside the protein, for example. And this type of technology is still very expensive in the point of like the it's too big for the demand to handle. So the cost of investing this type of thing is something like 1 million euro or 2 million euro. But the demand that we see day to day is not that big. Thirdly, I think the economy as a whole, right? Everybody suffer from the inflation and the rising cost of everything. So plant-based, if they still be more expensive than conventional meat, then it'll be like the it's not the priority for people to switch, and we have to what I call like bear a little bit because we have to be a little bit more patient and keep continuing educate the market together, because it's not about it's cheaper than the meat or more expensive than the meat, but the total cost towards society, like deforestation or the climate change, is so much, and also the cost to the healthcare, right? People suffer from the like the heart disease or cancer, which cost the country in terms of the patient care and healthcare also could not be related directly to what the diets. But these are also the things where we could not address what I call the elephant in the room, because the animal meat still politics and strong in terms of like the policy making or like the market reaching or even the market distribution. Lucky that the large company that participate in the plant-based, which also the big meat company, they help what I call like educate the market in terms of like putting the product into wider distribution to 7-Eleven or to all supermarkets, and consumer have a chance to evaluate. But now I think people taste it and then they found it's not what they expected in terms of price or quality. And as the industry, we have to come back and re-engage the consumer again on what benefits or what the taste or what convenient aspects, because not only the meat that we serve, but people is not only need the meat, but they need a good meal, need a happy lifestyle. So something that we have to not only just selling the cheap protein, but maybe like the convenience, say like what we did, we dip into the batter so the customer can just go right at home to fry without having to open the bag of breadcrumb and then to do into like the big family, or putting the taste inside the meat to create more niche product at the point where consumer can quickly incorporate to their quick cooking. So I think this is the time where all the brand need to re-strategize how to go to market at the point of what I call like the cost disparity. When you talk about like adding the flavor and adding the convenience, say portion it to the meatball, portion it to the patties. So these are the labor costs that could be saved at home for consumer, and somebody may want to pay higher price just because it's more convenient and easy to do. This is my my thought. Thank you.
Thank you very much again ครับคุณสมิธครับ and I'm a big fan of the less pan meat, the katsu, the you know the very rice format that you can just easily heat it up in the like fryer, air fry or deep fry to have a quick sustainable meal. And I think it's very in line with what we want to see, the go to market, the consumer persuasion. Many of idea and thoughts I have already collect in this live ideation board here. Thank you very much again ครับ if anyone Dr. Sirikan ครับ if no idea at the moment, shall we move to the
Yeah.
next?
Yeah, I agree. I think we seem to have quite a lot of ideas and point of view already to move into the second question to be discussed today. ค่ะ
ครับ I have additional like points from Dr. Ek Anong, the ideas of how to have this kind of a consortium or body that to be like some sort of a specific platform to translational research, you know, for this kind of alternative protein. So I put this on the board ครับ
ค่ะ
โอเคครับ
Thank you ค่ะ
Okay ครับ so please allow me to quickly move to the next question ครับ please ครับดรศิริการครับ
ค่ะ So for the second question, just to continue from the first topic that we have already shared and brainstormed into the ideas of how might we achieve the sustainable plant-based protein. Now let's ask ourselves that, so from a lot of ideas that we see, what do you think that would work and what do you think that probably would not work here? So then we can kind of shaping up this policy recommendation on this, and we can see like more important points coming up to move on to the last question as well. But I'm not sure because now we have to kind of memorize what are the ideas in the first slide, right? Into
Yeah, I can like quickly move from
yeah,
you know the two slides and then
yeah, and then we ค่ะ
ใช่ครับ
yeah, and then we can kind of grouping them, or I'm not sure how.
Yeah, let's grouping in this
Yeah.
in this slide here. Yeah, I think from the idea what works, what not, right? There's still if you have like pop-ups ideas that you like to share, you can still
Yeah, of course.
share
Yeah,
this
that's
with-
right.
ครับ
ค่ะ
I think our room not very much discussing about like funding. I'm quite surprised because when many times when I discuss this, they are like like in the fermentation room and new source they need more like funding and support. Just any thoughts นะครับ like คุณวิภู or คุณ Smith if you have like you can share with us the when you know pave the way you have tried many of the idea and initiatives along the way if anything works or anything you see that this definitely work please do share with us. And also, just the questions to the room, if anyone like are involved in the kind of policy making or implementing body I also really like to my own curiosity would like to learn from you that what are the like Dr. Ekanom mentioned that should be like body like consortium or any body that can be like join and work locally and internationally for the continuity of this thing. If anyone like have anything to share, please do share with us what works, what not. Like I think I never see I have never ever like know the insight that when the Singapore have joined between three party to establish like infrastructure and work together like A-Star Economic Board of Singapore and agency regulation agency. I'm not sure that if anyone in your country or anyone from Singapore can also share us ครับ All right, I'm trying to go through like one by one, like on the ideas of consumer persuasion, like educating customer or trying to empower customer to get to know, to activate, and to stay on, to have retention with this kind of plant-based protein. If anyone have any like key activity or initiative that you have already like put in place and it's work, please also share with us on the chat box and or raise the hand. Like Kun Smith mentioned that like new format or the format that is the really like give the consumer the value, the benefit of consuming this plant-based, like he have this ready to cook format. It's also work in terms of encourage customer to try his product. Anyone please do feel free to share ครับ
I like to propose. I think we don't have medical data for like the study of benefits of eating plant-based meat toward the disease or prevention or the curing or the maintenance of the good health in Thailand, because now we have to take the research from the USA and from the Europe, say because we don't have the funding to conduct it in Thailand. And I think the result of funding, even from the WHO, they're talking about like eating meat is the number one reason, is the same category promoting of the cancer. But then these are the publications that would not easily be done because the Thailand meat industry and then the player could not be not happy about the outcome. And without this medical proof, so we need to get to know through like unbiased whether like eating plant-based is good or not. People now looking at like, oh, it's highly processed, so we should not eat it, or it's high sodium, we should not eat it. But then people don't want to try to understand why the sodium are there. just because to ease the convenience of cooking, because the meat you have to put the sauce anyway, or the highly processed food, or it's come from factory, it should be bad. But you don't think about like the meat of animal that think about animal as a factory, right? What is the hormone or what is the antibiotic they put in it? So it also the factor into the meat they eat. And then when consumers see 100% fresh pork, they see is healthy. These are the things. Whereas the industry, we should have some medical study or something, looking at it very very objectively and unbiased. Thank you.
Yes, I do agree totally with Kun Smith, especially at the moment with the trend of the consumer that they seem to be more aware of processed food. And I think in terms of plant-based protein, at the first regard, when it started coming, it kind of target the healthy eaters, right? But now they're starting to have some question because it seems to be quite a few processes into manufacturing them. And also, according to Kun Smith, I also would like to propose that probably some collaboration between academic and industry that could join hand in terms of doing this kind of fundamental and basic research actually to prove the difference or the benefits of plant-based meat and compared to conventional meat, and then they can use these as a background to actually support and to actually encourage consumers as well. Yeah, and because I think in Thailand it's still quite lacking in terms of fundamental research, but that also we have to raise the issue towards the governmental and funding agencies as well to actually look at the development in terms of both like commercialization and also in terms of fundamental research.
Very, very great insight and very great point ครับ Wow.
Some more. I think if we want to promote incentive, economic incentive, let's say, oh, the high sugar beverage is bad, so we put excise tax on on the sugar. Oh, if beer is not good, so we put the excise tax on the beer. So this is to tax the consumption of the consumers. But if plant-based seems to be good for environment and good for the health, can we have the negative excise tax like this stamp when customer purchase, then they can collect and reclaim back the money from the excise tax department or something, right? We need to promote like eating healthy or something, but if we cannot do it through retailer or through the price control, we may need to promote it somewhere as a government, because the funding like SOSOSO or the I don't know the English name of that department, like the health promotion. I think they want to find a way to elevate the gross healthiness of the population. And if plant-based meat or plant-based eating could be better, then I think we should have some sort of financial schemes toward giving it direct to consumers, not just to the manufacturer or to the retailer. So these are the things where I think Singapore has something like not Singapore, Thailand also adopted recently the good for the health sign on the bottling, right, on the bottle. So if this beverage is less than this amount of the calorie or sugar, then they can get like the sign from the FDA. Same for like the Singapore has a good for the health. But then again, when we try to apply for good for the health, then there's no category for plant-based. So then we could not have it. So these are the things where people will still looking at it as a new, but we have to move it somewhere to use the what I call the infrastructure or the current body that we can be in. Thank you.
Wow. I think now the idea is starting to pouring out ครับ Dr. ศิริการครับ I keeping pace with the collecting the idea. So anyone please please do feel free to share. We have the idea from Dr. Ekanong from Furinopolis again for the infrastructure network of facility from R&D pilot plant to scaling up and OEM with GMP standards are needed. So I think this is very what works that we really like help boost the number and help scaling up new good product that I think Kun Smith also mentioned.
Yes, and probably like some subsidization for healthy food or like new market food like plant-based food as well. But yeah, as Kun Smith mentioned that the authority has to like pay more attention and give more importance for and to really give the support to drive this forwards as well. It's not just like the industry who can just do it themselves. It is the government authority has to put like their effort in as well. I do totally agree with you ค่ะ
นะครับ and as Kun Smith mentioned, I think I also like to it's enlight my one of the idea, and I think what works is the like in Thailand, right? When like BO like promotes and give subsidize to the new S curve or new category. So not only like exercising tax and other like positive and negative to this kind of price structure and value chain, but may perhaps like BOI or other like body that can give grants and incentives in terms of like investing or like co-invest or matching working between like big brother and newcomer in the plant-based product development space that perhaps like one of the way that we can support the people like Kun Phu, Kun Smith or new startup and SME in the space.
Yeah, actually, I would like to probably ask Ms. Santi or Kun Smith to further elaborate a bit more on co-investment and also like the big brother and the newcomers. Will there be some like conflicts of interest when you have this share benefit or how it actually works if to have the big brother and the newcomers to kind of co-invest together or something like that?
I think
Kun Smith.
Thailand may not be a good example for
Okay.
a country to invest in small companies. You can see just recently like a company that want to acquire and then they don't acquire and then they do something similarly.
Yeah.
So these are the not I don't say the pain because the economic incentive is so large and so vast that the big company also have all the infrastructure. They have the 99% of the knowledge, and just 1% that could come from the small companies, right? And they have to wait. Why do I need to give it away? So maybe I just do it ourselves. So I think this is a lot of mindsets in the large Thai corporates. Or maybe like in so I think this is something that we have to differentiate more than just fight back.
And I have seen some case in like Israel, I think like when the corporation like or venture capital invest in the startups, I think Israel under the specific category that the government support, they also put support incentive, tax reduction, or even like co-invest in the project to make the fund size is empower the development of the certain research area or the project ครับ And I think we can learn definitely from Singapore, right? That they have create the such ecosystem that have a pool of investor in the space that ready to invest and give a good valuation to the startups in the ecosystem. Like I think like Thai researcher have brought this, or Thai startup, food tech startup had brought this many times, that if their valuation of the certain problem solution or their value proposition in Thailand or in Singapore, in US, perhaps like give kind of a big gap of the valuation or investment valuation. Anyone in the room, please, feel free to raise hand and to join in the discussion ครับ Right ครับ the fermentation room already moved to the
Already done,
process
yeah.
very fast.
Yeah, but we're still at the second slide.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have something with the second slide in terms of regulation. Maybe we can recap from the first topic that we mentioned, that sometimes the regulation that's kind of not obstruct the new innovations. I mean, not just like plant-based, but also in terms of like food innovation as well. Maybe if we can do something with this to get the balance right. I mean, food safety is also very important. We have to put that as the first priority, but still have some rooms for this kind of new innovations to actually grow into like from innovation to products and then into market is something that have to have the balance right and have to be very updated, like very, I mean, to keep up with the scale of the innovation as well. Because now it seems to move at very different scale, different time scales, I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and also I think it's very great point here I have put in here. And when you mentioned about this kind of looking in terms of value chain based, and the regulation can be a support and empower. I think we have not discussed about the IP, the intellectual property laws. I think it is very stand out what works in Singapore, right? Because they have put this is as one of the top priorities to really like support the ecosystem. So if anyone have any like pop up ideas or thought, please.
Constantine, when you mentioned about Singapore and the IT innovation, do they have speed up the protection for the new applications, or what terms to support in terms of the IP protection?
I think from both perspective in terms of like get the new IP application right in Thailand. I think we have this already implement, but from the noise from the startups, maybe it quite take time and costly consumption and in terms of enforce it also, right, from the implementing perspective, like to enforce it, to empower people who apply for this IP is still, right, still a lot of maybe perhaps like details and pain point that we can pinpoint and make this more like you mentioned, like balance and empower the people in the value chain.
Yeah. Totally agree. I've been through the process. It takes for me, it takes about 3 years to get protected after filing. Any ideas coming up?
Yeah, if we stick on this for a little bit. If not, we quickly move to the third slide, and then I trying to validate and summarize the points from the first slide into the second slide ครับ Yeah, and also I think that one of the point that I also learned from Dr. Ekanong, and I think it's in line from the development of the ecosystem standpoint, is that university should make sure to produce skill knowledge able STI personnel in this business industry sectors. So this I probably trying to put in the infrastructure. And also would like to add to this point, I think it's kind of always, right, when I interview people from research perspective, is the technology, deep technology that we need in terms of developing this is in the university and research institution. But the people in the research institution are like heavily focused on the technology development, but not like business and understand the kind of industry perspective. So how might we, I think what work is to to produce such skill and to also match the people from to to parts of the the business and technology expertise to work together ครับ also from looking different like rooms ideas like R&D facility regulation consumer education if anyone are involved in the kind of like connecting and developing the policy between country to country, please also share us your thought or please give us the contacts and information so that we can also learn and work with you because I think one of the things that we lack not work is that perhaps clear guideline in terms of like developing and building the value chain base. And to do so, I think it's not only the country basis to do only in such just one country, but it would be better to partnering country to country to build such a roadmap. So if anyone are involved in this area or know anyone in this area, please share with us your thoughts or your contacts. All right, ครับ so if not any question please I would like to Dr. ศิริการ ครับ should we move to the third question ครับ
ค่ะ So from the second question that we have a little bit of the discussion on the points that have been raised, that what would work and what probably would not, and what are the interventions that we need to put in to actually make it work, right? And now for the third point of discussion today, that from all the ideas that we have and the discussion, that what works and what not, and then we will try to summarize that what is the most important thing that we should probably do first or prioritize the idea that we have brainstormed together, and then we can kind of have a few important ideas that we can move on from here and develop a policy recommendation based on that. ค่ะคุณสันติ I probably have missed some of the part that's been discussed in the second slide, so I'm not sure. Is there any thought on prioritizing all the ideas here? That what would be the most important thing or the thing that we could do first?
Yeah, I mean for my side, and I think to make this more like Dr. Ekanong, Kun Smith, and I think everyone mentioned there are many good points here, and perhaps like we need a clear roadmap, and we need a clear certified body to continually, be a agent or body to work country as a country to country, and to make this thing as a priority first, and then the list will come forward, right? If we have a big body that we have a body that taking care of this, perhaps they are like split committee and group people who work like upstream, midstream, and downstream. So downstream consumer persuasion and all such thing, and midstream people who collect all the infrastructure and like production facility, and work with this kind of regulatory standpoint, and upstream, so frontier research, basic research, or other like funding and granting. So for me, I mean, all through of this still, right? Many of the idea I think we have been discussing, and many of the people here probably like, yeah, I have seen this other workshop and I have this pop up and read in some report, but so how can we have priority to have a clear roadmap guidelines, and how we put it in terms of priority, that okay, so let's start from this body. This body maybe cannot do all the thing that mentioned, but can be the one who keep pushing this thing forward ครับso
And for this body, you mean like both industry, academic, and government also in the same working group, or what do you think would be
yes
would be the
I think like
ideal?
play along the guidebook of APEC, or I think UN is public-private partnership, right? But
Yeah.
public-private partnership in the sense that in the detail, I'm not sure that, right?
Would it work?
Yeah, how can we translate, and how we can make this works in Thailand, or in Thailand to work with Singapore or other country, because like I think like people see in Singapore, it's been led by the private. It's been led by one of the big food conglomerate, right? Big funding. So, but I'm not sure what is the right formula for Thailand. Like so really looking forward to put this as a priority, and perhaps like maybe 3 food conglomerate can also share, and can also lead in the respective area of their expertise or their strategic area that they want to push forward, and we have this kind of body to allocate this kind of area or subtopic based to work this.
Thank you, Khun Santi. I also agree with you that before we prioritize anything that we do, we have to prioritize ourselves to the bigger figures as well, to see that we are important, and then with the clear roadmap that everyone, all the stakeholders joining together to plan the roadmap together, and then we can see the same bigger picture, and then we can kind of step by step moving towards that. I think that's a good way to conclude the session as well. And I'm not sure whether there are any more comments from the participants or any more and remarks from anyone to join us here.
I'd like to propose the priority. I think priority should be demand driven, should be market led. We cannot talk about like what crop are we supporting the farmers, because as long as consumers don't demand the product, then everything else is last priority, right? Talking about people, how do we promote this? If the obstacle is in the price, how can we make the price less expensive? If we're talking about like people are doubting the nutrition, how can we have the study unbiased? If we're talking about people not looking at the tasty, how can we get some certain like chef to taste and then to kind of rate and rank unbiasedly, because every brand say we are taste the best and then no one objectively say it, right? So if consumers still have the doubt, then the demand would not be there, and then the manufacturing would not have anything to produce, and then we could not go down to have the second research and third research to be done, right? I think promoting the demand, like medical data or like the taste, ranking taste, taste, not say competition, like taste validation by the what I call respectable authority, and then getting what I call like the assistance from the retail industry to lower the burden of the price. And if we can get the tax VAT to be exempt, then that's great. And if we can get the incentive excise tax, then that's even better. Anything that to promote the health, that to promote the demand. We could not be a country say we are the kitchen of we export, but then our country do not consume. This is something that kind of wrong. And if Thailand is as in Europe, every freezer cabinet in all the corner of Germany I go has the plant-based item like the burger patty and other sausages. We need to incorporate this to the lifestyle of our people and make sure that this one coming to Thailand, you can get the healthy food in the restaurant, in the supermarket, cooking at home, and also could be a soft power when they consuming in their home country. Thank you.
ขอบคุณครับ Thank you very much ครับ
Thank you, Khun Sumit. Very good point. We look the whole perspective like with collaboration, but also we need the demand and the market to lead us as well. We shouldn't miss that at all. Thank you very much. Very important point indeed. ค่ะคือ Santi, just I have been reminded that we have only 5 minutes left to wrap up the session and enjoy with the main room, because I think the other two groups they have already finished.
Yes, I would like encourage ครับ if anyone is a good chance 5 minutes, right, to share any thoughts, any idea, because I have go through the different rooms, and I think we have quite a good point here from like value chain standpoint and from the ecosystem enabling and supporting standpoint here. So please, do share your thoughts, and we trying to summarize and to prioritize it into the policy dialogue ครับ. But yeah, it's been such a great valuable time that we receive your time and your thoughts and your participation. just like to discuss maybe with Dr. Sirikan and maybe Kun Smith or Dr. Ekanong, anyone in the room who care to open microphone. Just out of your first thought, you think like public-private partnership to help in terms of like consortium or board or committee or somebody to move this thing forward. Which you think that should lead this journey, this development journey, should be like from public or should be from private? Just your first thought.
Maybe can I take this first because I have to leave at 4. I have another meeting that I have to share. Yes, so just Kun Santi has mentioned, I think public-private partnership is important and it's maybe the most important at this point. And yes, I think private-led would be the thing that we are needed to move this innovation and development in plant-based products forward. And also, I think it has to work both way. The top-down policy as well from funding agency and also policy unit next for TSRI and then PMUC. They have to align all their supporting program for research and innovation and collaboration throughout the value chain. And also private sectors, universities and researchers they have to work together more closely in terms of research and innovation, bringing the things from lab to the market and to international market, to the consumers. And also what is very important in these areas of product is the regulatory framework. Yes. I think that's all for me from now, and I have to excuse myself from the room and would be very much appreciate to get the I don't know whether that would be the summarize of the discussion of all 3 groups. That would very useful for everyone and especially for Food Innopolis, so that we can see any things that we could help as the intermediary or bridging organization. Okay, thank you very much. สวัสดีค่ะ
Thank you very much. ครับ I think it's very good, closing to this, like summarize and give opinions on what's most important. So still, I would love to also hear if anyone from private sector or international ecosystem also share with us. Kun Smith, Kun Poo, or anyone else in here can also please feel free to share what most important, top of your mind, top of your list. Okay, Dr. Sirikan, I think we kind of run out of time too.
Yeah, it's already 4 p.m. I think the others are waiting for us as well, and I think we have such a fruitful and insightful discussion already. Thank you so much for Kun Santi to leading the session and everyone else to share their views here. So shall we say it's a wrap up for the session, and then we meet again in the big room.
Yes. So the next agenda is to really like gather in the what's it, the first room that we are
Yeah,
all
the main room. Yeah.
the main room. Okay, and then so that we can listen to the summarize from each different room, and perhaps like closing from Dr. Aji, right?
Yuki. Yeah.
Dr. Yuki, sorry, and then perhaps like Dr. Wano, perhaps the
Huh.
closing some.
Okay. Huh. Okay. Thank you very much, everyone. See you all back in the main room in a few seconds. Bye.
Okay. Okay. Thank you everyone for your weddings. It seems that everyone already came back to our main rooms. We really appreciate your active, engaging, and your kind participant for this event, especially during the workshop session. For now, I would like to re-invite Kun Santi to wrap up our workshop and overall sessions for today. Kun Santi ครับ the floor is yours.
ครับ I would like thank you again for all the participants and the idea and for the NSTDA teams and Funopolis to really like have this very great and insightful. I'm actually my plan is to like go across the room to fermentation and to new source of protein. But unfortunately, like there's a lot of discussion in the plant-based room, and then I kind of stuck in there. But see the ideas or through the room. I think the facilitator doing a very great job to have like index in terms of like topic like incentives or regulation, facility and infrastructure, and R&D needs. So market mechanism or consumer persuasion. So I think many of the idea that are indexing are really like in line uh, to really like give a very short and brief summarize from Kun Smith, from Dr. Ekanong Fuinopolis. We think from our like plant-based room, I think we need to have very clear guidelines of how we can work together. And to work together is to like according to APEC is to create a private and public partnership. And the advice from Dr. Ekanong is to be a private led, but in some of the area the public can also come to lead. And from the private opinion like Kun Smith and for myself, I think like many of the areas that can be put in priorities like Kun Smith mentioned from like market and consumer persuasion. So start from the market demands and really make this obvious to the consumer of this new source of sustainable protein that's already available for them to get to know the nutrition, the benefit. And also from many of the enabler that we are discussed, there are a lot of collection and summarize of the key idea of the enabler of infrastructure to help develop new texture, new format, and the format that is delight and really like close to consumer. from the regulatory harmonization I see in many of the room, from new source of protein, fermentation, and plant-based infrastructure to comply to the international regulatory and to help the startup and new source of protein fermentation to scaling up. Perhaps like from the fermentation is would be very pretty much obvious to have like intermediary and midstream like CDMO to be more scaling up and to be more regenerative and green energy to creating this. And a lot of the idea that I think it would take a lot of time for us to really like go through. So I will try to also keep working with the NSTDA team and also give the summarize to all of you afterwards. But to not further take much of your time because you have spent a lot of time with us today. I think we have another distinguished guests that are with us today that will give us some of the idea and the speech. Kun Saranyu ครับ is it the doctor
Dr. Yuki, right?
yes yes
Okay, let me see. I'm not sure that he is still or he's already left our session. Let me check a moment.
all right
ก้าวคะ Dr. Shukit has another conference, so yeah, he already left.
Okay, then perhaps we can just wrap up everything and just come to the end of the sessions.
ครับ
Is there anything anyone would like to add something or discuss a bit further? We still have some time before we close the session.
Yes, we still here with how many participants now? Still
have
like
78 person with us right now. That's quite a lot.
Yes. So if anyone you is sparking any of your idea or you want to really like give us the idea at the end of this webinar workshop, please feel free to do so ครับ
Well, I think there is no one would like to give the closing remarks for us already. And shall we continue to close the session? Or is there anyone would like to give us something? Any suggestions or ideas? Rooms and share information about how the FDA is just.
Okay, so I think on the behalf of the like the NSTDA, Foodnopolis, and Biotech, and for me I'm very have privileged to be with you today and to really like learn and get many insight and many of the idea confirm and validate that how we can really like push this the development of the sustainable source of alternative protein forward together, and this idea on the different room is kind of confirm of what we can really summarize and create a dialogue for this APEC 2022 meetings. So again, thank you very much for having me here, and thank you very much for all the idea and all participants ครับ
Yokai accepted to be our moderator of today's. On behalf of NASDAQ, we would like to thank you and our speaker once again for your excellent presentation and also your kind contribution to share all useful information. And thank you very much for your interest and active participation. We look forward to seeing you once again in the next and our upcoming event in October, which is APEC Tech Summit. Yes, and it's been a pleasure to host this event. I look forward to seeing you soon. Is there anything you would like to add further? Please do not hesitate. We still have few minutes left before we go and leave the session. And yeah, please be informed that all participants will be able to download our presentation material as well as the video clips during this session after this event, approximately at night. And tomorrow you will be able to download the video recording the breakout room session. So please do not hesitate to learn more if you want to have a look on our video recording. And furthermore, before you leave, I would like to invite you to do some survey. Actually, it's just questionnaire, take a few minutes to help us develop our sessions in the future. And if you would like to access to our topic of discussion during the breakout room, you can also be able to have a look at it. We will share it on the Google Drive, and you'll be able to access it directly. Thank you ครับ and คุณสันติครับ I'm not sure if you would like to go through the topic anything, or we just close the event.
Yes, thank you very much ครับ for wrap this up. I just received the message in the comment box that Dr. Yukit also seeking to collaborate with Thai researcher as well as private sector who interest in apply growth factors feeding system to cost down the production costs. And also he has shared and shed light on the perspective of how to have this fermentation validate with the Japanese FDA approved culture meat product. So it's very useful information that he share and think, and a lot of useful information from different room as well. For me again to share with all of you today, I think it's just the kind of the initiative and the journey for all of us to really work together on this sustainable alternative protein journey together. And I think the NSGDA team will have this upload and publish for you in the summarize and the detail afterward. And we hope to get your participation again at the next event that will come afterward ครับ Thank you very much again ครับ
ขอบคุณมากครับ
ขอบคุณครับ